Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everybody. Today we're down at the Lexus and BMW dealers. And today you really wonder, is Lexus that much more reliable than a BMW, or is BMW more reliable than a Lexus? Well, we'll talk about some of the issues on both brands in generalities, make some general conclusions, and let you know at the end which one I think is the safer bet in terms of reliability. So let's take a look at some of these models and talk to some of the issues that you might find. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Play Place, and today, first thing, we'll talk about the RX 350. These SUVs are great machines. Don't get me wrong, lots of great benefits in owning one of these. However, there have been issues in software upgrades. Upgrades, for example, for the stereo controls, the heating controls, the air conditioning doesn't work at times, and as well, the transmission has issues with shifting hard or sloppy shifting. Also, a lot of times it's software related, but there have been issues associated with the transmission with these cars too. As well, variable valve timing, don't forget that. That has been a very, very well-known issue with these SUVs. No doubt about it. Great vehicles, but certainly not without their faults either. And then we have the GS 430 here. What a beautiful machine. Now these have actually been quite bulletproof. Really, the only thing that goes wrong with this is the evaporation system. That's really the only notable outside of standard maintenance right there. IS 350. Really swanky looking car for sure. These have had a few issues, from front suspension noise to rear brakes hanging up. You've actually got some problems with engine lights, misfires, and some carbon fouling. Generally a pretty sturdy car, but there have been some notable issues. Transmission slipping as well has also been a commonly known issue with some of these cars. Great machines, but again, not totally without their fault. Right here we have what you'd consider a classic example of a Lexus. This is the GX 460. This is an example of a vehicle that is typical what you'd expect for a Toyota Lexus. Absolutely zero notable problems other than standard maintenance that I've identified through RepairPal. Absolutely nothing really notable, nothing that's consistent anyway outside of, standard routine maintenance. Now there might be one-off deficiencies, but this is a pretty reliable vehicle. Classic Lexus reliability and dependability right there. So generally, as a rule, Lexus have a lot of very reliable vehicles. Some of them did have issues though. There's still issues with some mass air flow sensors, oxygen sensors, electrics. Some of the other models, for example, like the SC models, had issues with the digital displays that would burn out, and that was a very costly venture as well. So definitely some notables on the reliability side for Lexus. But let's move into the BMW world and talk about some of the BMWs and what their reliability looks like. So firstly, let's talk about the 3 Series. We have a turbo inline 6. This is the first attempt. Back in 2007, BMW came with the 335i, which is a 3-liter inline turbo 6. Lots of problems. High pressure fuel pump, Vanos issues, fuel injector issues, wastegate rattle, leaks from the oil filter housing, all kinds of different issues. Now they've moved along to the N55, and then they've moved yet again here to the latest generation, just before the existing B58. This here is the latest 340 that has come a long ways from this car. These are well sorted. Now the reliability concerns that you have in these really don't even exist compared to the N54. So generally as a rule, BMW is transitioning from what was not so reliable to a much more reliable car in recent generations. This car is much more proven in current models now. There seems to be far less issues related to reliability on these particular Turbo 6s in the newest versions right here. 430, for example. So the latest version, this is the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. This car here generally now has come a long ways as well. This car, the 2-liter turbo, has replaced the old conventional inline, normally aspirated 6-cylinder engine by BMW. These are showing to be far more reliable. Well, not a lot of issues other than if you over boost them. If guys that are modifying them are finding more issues with cracked heads, splitting parts, and generally as a rule, not so great in terms of reliability when it comes time to modifying these things. Otherwise, generally quite good in recent generations, better than all the Vanos issues and leaking head gasket or valve cover gaskets you'd find in the old inline 6. Series of X vehicles by BMW. Well, the X series is a loaded question. Which ones are reliable and which ones are not? It really depends on the drivetrain. So if you're dealing with anything turbocharged, typically a lot of the BMW X's have some issues. The diesels, more issues because of issues related to the emissions equipment. That's where the diesels become a problem. If you're dealing with an X5 or an X6M, you'll have issues. Some issues come down to leaking down injectors, issues related to the injection system, turbochargers, and general leaks and high expense on maintenance. So it depends what you're looking at, but for the X vehicles, they definitely have their share of issues due to the complexity. Lots of electronics, powerful engines that create issues because of heat, and generally as a rule, the more powerful the engine, the more upscale the model, the more issues you're going to see with the X series vehicles. A lot of the X series are very good. X1s, X2s, X3s can be very good and very reliable if you choose the right model. If you choose the engines that are typically on the high end of the output scale, you're going to see more issues, generally as a rule. Now here we have an E92 M3, the beautiful spec, V8 engine, white with red interior. The problem with these is they had rod bearing problems. Almost like the E60 M5 that I currently own, these had rod bearing issues, particularly once you hit 140,000 kilometers. Then we have the current generation M4, which is about to be changed up here in the next couple of years. Has the crank hub issues with the S55 engine. Other than that, it's proving to be very, very dependable. So other things that you can expect from BMW as issues: leaks, engine oil leaks, coolant leaks, electrical problems, and a host of other issues related to technology. BMW used to build a very, very sturdy product that was very dependable, very solid. Now as time went on, they went through some spells during the mid-2000s where there were some issues, and they had vehicles that were producing that had a lot of problems. Now it appears in the newer generations things are getting better and better, and time will tell, but it seems to be more reliable as we go on. So BMW is shaping up their ship right now for the next go around. So the ultimate question is, which one is more reliable, BMW or Lexus? Now BMW prides itself on being the ultimate driving machine, and as a result has often forgotten the dependability factors. Lexus, on the other hand, has always relied on dependability, reliability between Lexus and Toyota, and they prided themselves on that whole factor. Now as well, with that, BMW has got back on track. It seems like later generations tend to be a bit more dependable than previous generations. Lexus has always been consistent. If you look at some of the reports now, consumer reports, BMW moving up the rank, and in some cases due to technology increases, Lexus is starting to slide a little bit. That being said, Lexus is a phenomenally reliable vehicle, and as such, I would say generally as a rule, broad spectrum, Lexus is more reliable than BMW. That being said, there are specific models in the BMW lineup that are as dependable or more so even than certain reliability of certain Lexus models. If you go to the large SUVs, the Lexus is the way to go for reliability. If you like performance, well, that's a BMW thing. But if you think that Lexus owns the book on reliability, well, some of the new 3 Series cars, some of the newer engines are actually very, very dependable in the BMW world, and it's really a wash. So generally as a rule, the simpler the vehicle, the more equalized the reliability is. If you go up the scale, generally, Lexus is more reliable. The GX is a prime example of simplicity, consistent reliability with their large SUV. Perfect vehicle as an example. If you want dependability and you want large SUV, you have to go with the Lexus. If you want performance, you go with the BMW. So again, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that link down below. There's a video series that I made on reliability. Make sure you check that out. You're gonna love it. Hope to see you guys soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.